another session with EnglishYaari. I hope you are excited for our today's live. Every Sunday we try to come up and bring the best thing, and I hope you will have a great time with us today as well. Right, Megha ma'am?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I want you to write yes or excited in the chat box. Only then we'll begin with our today's session because today we have come out with a lot of activities, a lot of fun segments, and I hope they will have a lot of takeaways from the session once the session gets over. Isn't it?
Definitely. I hope our learners are as excited as we are today.
Oh, truly. I'm super excited. Let's see what they have to say about it. Okay, dear learners, as you know, that every Sunday we come live and we have just one motive that we should make learning fun and you should learn English to a level where it's easy for you to use in your daily conversations. So, with utmost motivation and excitement, let's delve into our today's live topic. And any guesses? Would you like to make any guesses that what would be our topic? Although we have mentioned it on the banner, let's see if they know it.
Yes,
Okay,
let's see
they're
who's pausing
excited.
first. Yeah.
True. Exactly. They're saying they're excited. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, you're saying it right, Bhola. Our today's topic is mastering small talks. So, as we always say this, that your wish is our command, and you voted for small talks. So, we are here to have a word on small talks today. And along with me, as I have Miss Megha. Today, I hope, Miss Megha, you're going to give some valuable things to our learners so that they can ace small talks easily.
Absolutely, Shruti. I'm going to try my best. And I hope by the end of today's session, our learners get a clear picture of what small talk is and how do you engage in it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and before we ask you questions related to small talks, I want our learners to know that today we have some of the important announcements. First, as most foremost, is that as you know, whenever we come live, we bring a lot of fun segments and we bring some gifts or goodies to you. So by the end of this session, whosoever will be active, at least three top learners would get a chance to have a free session with our expert tutors. Isn't that
Wow.
exciting, Miss Megha?
Absolutely. These are some amazing goodies, and I hope everyone is going to, work hard in today's session and vouch for it.
Exactly. But I must tell you that it's going to be difficult for you to choose the top three learners because
I
whenever
know.
they come up with a lot of excitement.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's ask the question first. Let's break the ice. And I want to know from you, Miss Megha, that what do you understand by small talks and why small talks are important? Meanwhile, you are answering this question to me. I want learners to also type down in the chat section. Let's see if they get it right.
Yes. So, a really good question, Shruti. What is small talk? So, whenever you meet someone, small talk refers to the casual chit chat that you have about everyday topics like maybe the weather or current affairs or what are your weekend plans. So, today is Sunday. If you meet someone, ask them, how was your weekend? Right? So, this is called a small talk. And the main motive of small talk is just to break the ice with the other person. When we meet someone for the first time, initially there's a bit of awkward silence. Just in order to break that, small talk is very important. It makes the situation light and humorous.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, absolutely. And Megha ma'am, as you said, it's a small chit chat. Though it's a small chit chat, but I think it takes a lot of courage to initiate that. What do you have to say about it?
I completely agree with you. Especially if you're an introvert, I think small talks are definitely not going to be a piece of cake. So, do we have any introverts in our session today? If yes, then type me in the chat box.
Yes, and I think Kalyan says is right. He says small talks are necessary to talk about general things among friends. Okay.
Right.
Is it just with friends, Megha ma'am?
Not really. Even if you're meeting someone for the first time and you want them to be your friend, it could be your neighbor, it could be a colleague, or an interesting stranger that you meet at a party. Small talks can help you break the ice with a lot of different people.
True. Himachali tutor Neha Rana says it exactly. She says small talks refer to a usual chit chat.
Absolutely, you're
Okay.
100% right, Neha.
Mhm. Okay, now that we know that's what actually small talk is and how it's done, I want you to provide us some tips on how we can initiate a small talk. As I just asked you,
Yeah.
I still remember initial few minutes of
Mhm.
conversation are the most, I would say, different feeling. There's a jittery feeling in you. What would I say? How should I say? And what would be the right answer? Or will I be able to break the ice with someone whom I'm meeting for the first time? So, how to tackle that? How should I initiate? In behalf of my learners, I want you to answer this.
Okay, so let me break this down for all of you in very simple steps. The first thing is to begin with a very friendly greeting. You know, just a simple hi, how are you? How is your day going? That's the best way to start a small talk. And always make sure that you ask your speaking partner open ended questions, which means questions on which they can give you a detailed answer. For example, you could ask, what brings you here today? How was your weekend? And when the other person responds, please make sure that you show a level of genuine interest. Yeah. So this is how you begin small talk, and make sure that the conversation is very light and positive. Avoid going into controversial or deeply personal topics. So these are my top three, pointers to ace small talk.
Okay. I believe when it comes to friends, we are still able to initiate the small talk. Problem arises when you are in a professional setup. What would you say about that?
Very interesting one. The first thing is to challenge any kind of negative thinking that's going on in your mind. Don't fear your colleagues so much. Just imagine that they are your peer and you just want to build a genuine bond with them. So approach with that intention and plan your questions. Don't feel like, okay, I'll go and I'll figure it out. So don't be in that mode. Just plan one or two questions beforehand. Maybe you could ask them about their project, okay? Or maybe you could ask them what did they have for lunch, or what are their weekend plans. So simple questions like this will help you, master small talk even with colleagues.
Okay, and here I think Miss Jyoti has said it beautifully. She says you can initiate the chat by giving a cute smile to the other person. What do you have to say?
I loved this point.
Okay. Of course, I think when you smile, it first of all helps the other person uplift their mood. Otherwise, if you are with a straight face where there's no emotion,
Yeah.
that time it would be difficult for you to break the ice. So, smile caters it all, isn't it?
100%. Yes, if we have a strict face, then we will not look approachable. So nobody would dare to come and make small talk with us. So a beautiful smile helps our case.
Okay, Rohini says that in small talks, after two or three sentences, I get stuck. How to overcome that? And I think this is the most common question I have heard people when they come in the session. That initially I can ask one or two questions I have in my mind. I can ask about their day, I can ask about the weekend. What should I do next? So please answer that.
Okay. So let's imagine that you ask them a question, how was your day? And the other person gives you details like, okay, I went to watch a movie with my family. So now take the cue of movie and ask them a little about that. What's your review of the film? What was the plot? Do you recommend that we can go and watch? So depending on their answers, pick some pointers from your partner's answers and keep asking questions, right? So that's a smart way to deal with it.
Amazing. I have to agree because at times you just have set questions, but this sound monotonous.
Yes.
So to make sure it's a healthy discussion, you must delve into something which is easy, which is comfortable for both of them to have a word on. So you can just
Yeah.
dive in.
Yeah, and the second thing is don't feel like you're only liable to ask questions. Also, feel free to share anecdotes from your life. If the other person talks about movies, why don't you also share some stories about your favorite films? So, share some details and keep the conversation going.
Oh my god, I think you said it really well. Sometimes they feel small talk means asking questions. I
Questions.
have to ask questions, that's it. Wherever the part of conversation is, you start the topic or you start any question, but later on, jump over to a conversation which can be from both the ends, not just from the other person. Even you can add on something from your life. As you said, anecdote can be shared, or if you have an opinion about anything. So feel free to share that.
Yes.
Okay.
That makes the conversation engaging and the other person won't feel like they're being interrogated.
Okay, here I got a great question. Let's see what you say. Rahat says, for example, introduce myself. So, can we consider this?
For example, introduce myself. I think asking someone to introduce themselves is a little too abrupt. So maybe we could just ask them simple questions, break it down. Hey, what's your name? Where are you from? So instead of asking, introduce yourself, that's more like interview-ish,
Interview.
right? Yeah. Just ask
Yes.
specific questions: name, city, when did you move here? What do you do on the weekends? Simple things like this.
Yes, small talks should not be just interrogative. You can
Yes.
have some kind of emotions, or I suggest that be curious to understand the
Mhm.
personality than that of asking them questions every time,
Yes.
right?
And keep it
Because they
as
may
light
feel
as
that,
possible.
yes, of course, otherwise you can be pain in neck for some people.
You're right.
Okay. Um, Mr. Alien says, I am a movie
Mhm.
buff. So, can we have a
Hey,
conversation about movies when we have a small talk?
absolutely. I think that's one of the best conversation starters in a small talk because in our country, we are all a little obsessed with movies, aren't we? So that's one topic that everybody would love to discuss. So, yeah, movies are a great topic. So I give you the green signal. And I think we have S classes English spoken who tells, Ma'am, I can speak, but I'm unable to form big sentences. So, Shruti, do you think it's important to only frame big sentences in small talk?
No, see, when it comes to small talks, it's all about you expressing your feelings or you asking other person what they are doing in their life or what they are up to. So I don't know why people feel that English fluency is all about asking typical questions or making big sentences. If your
Yes,
idea is clear, if your thoughts are clear in your simple sentence, it's okay. You go with short sentences. Short and effective sentences would work.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Megha ma'am, as we are talking about small talks, and you gave us the reference that small talk means a casual chit chat where you're not being too interrogative, where you're asking questions. You're just
Yeah.
going to build a healthy relation or a healthy communication, so that you set a tone for the vibe. I would say, throughout the session, what kind of conversation you can have with the person. Our learners know it well. I think it's time to test what they understood so far.
Yes.
Right? So,
Yeah.
dear learners, here comes a quick activity. Let's see if we were able to tell you what small talks mean. So, in today's activity, I would name this activity What's Right? Because I could see many answers where people were asking one question. I think Muskan was saying, or even Jyoti said, sometimes people ask you irrelevant questions
Yeah.
during small talks and you have
Yeah.
no answer. So, in today's activity, we will be giving some situations to our learners and
Mhm.
with three options. They
Okay.
have to choose what is appropriate and what is not when it comes to small talks. Do you think they would be able to ace it now?
Sounds exciting. Let's figure it out. Let's see if they can.
Okay, so what I want you is I want you to give them a situation and some
Mhm.
relevant small talks they can start. Out of all these three options, they have to choose what can be asked in a small talk and what should be avoided completely. Red versus green flags.
Okay, done. Sounds pretty good to me. So, shall we start?
Yes.
Okay. So, learners, the first situation is imagine that you are catching up with a friend after a very long time. What questions can you ask them as part of the small talk? So, shall I give them the options, Shruti?
I must say the scenario that you have given or the picture that you've painted is quite relevant. Yes, please.
Okay. So, your first option is where were you? So, that's the first option. Second is how have you been? And the last option is how are things at your end? So, these are the three options out of which two are correct and one is wrong. So, let's see if our learners can figure that out.
Okay, sounds interesting. So, to make it easy for you, we'll do one thing. We'll pin this comment in the live chat so that you can see. And once more, Miss Megha, if you could just repeat the options for them, it would be really easy.
Sure. Sure. The situation is you're catching up with a friend after a very long time, and your small talk
Mhm.
question options are: where were you? How have you been? And how are things at your end? So these are your options.
Okay. And now here we have. Jyoti says, "How have you been?" Okay.
Yes.
Sachin says, "How have you been?" And
Mm-hmm.
Shrikant says, A option. We would really appreciate if you could write what was A option. Okay. People are saying both option B and C are right. Then Muskan
Yes.
says, "How have you been?"
Right.
Gaurav
We have
says,
Manmohan Singh who said both the options are right, B and C.
yeah. What about A? What's wrong in A? Why don't you like A? How are things? How about
Hmm.
you? How have you been? Karthik's, Stupa, Naval. Oh my god. I think, Megha ma'am, it's the right time for you to actually reveal the secret. What was right and what was wrong?
So, first of all, most of them have gotten it right. The two correct
Okay.
options are how have you been and how are things at your end? That's option B and C. The incorrect option is where were you? I think when you abruptly ask someone, "Hey, where were you?" It sounds a little rude, and the other person might be taken aback, like, "Okay, what's going on? Why is she so strict with me?" So, where were you is not appropriate. So, option A is wrong. B and C are correct.
Okay, I think there were just two or three learners who gave option A. Rest people were saying B and C. Now
Yes.
that they know that both the options B and C are correct, we would really appreciate if you could also justify why these options are right. Although Miss Megha has given the hint, but what do you think is wrong with A? And what is right with B or C? Let's see if they're able to answer. Because I feel like, if ma'am, it's not about giving the right answer, it's also about knowing why this answer is the right answer, isn't it?
Correct. There needs to be some logic behind selecting our responses. So let's see if our learners can find that out.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I think Karthik says, "How have you been?" Shah Shaban says, "I think both are correct." Yes, both are correct, of course. Sometimes we end up asking some questions. We don't have that intention to hurt them, but by
Hmm.
making some irrelevant question, we make the awkward silence in the room.
Yes,
Isn't
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think at some point we've all been there, haven't we? And that's when we learn.
Oh. Yes, Rohini says, "Where were you is wrong. How have you been? How are things at your end is right." Yes, I must
Correct. Oh
appreciate
my
because
God.
Rohini has written the full sentences.
Yes, yes.
No shortcuts at all.
Yeah,
Okay,
good
that's
job,
pretty good.
Ramon. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And as we were just talking, we need to understand the logic behind. Okay, Kuldeep says, "I know both of you just because of sessions." Okay, all right. He knows us. Muskan
Hi,
says,
Kuldeep. Yeah.
yeah, "Where were you" gives a sense that where were you before
Hmm.
instead of how were you. Okay, though it's little complicated, Muskan, but the idea behind writing this answer was completely right. She says that instead of asking where were you, we should ask how are you or how were you doing. You know, if you have not
Yeah.
met that person.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, she's right.
Shrikant says it right because option B could be little rude.
Option A
Okay.
is the rude one. B is fine, Shrikant. You can ask people, how have you been is pretty polite. So option B is fine.
Yes, Kusum says it right. I think, ma'am, option B and C are more polite. Yes, exactly. It's all about how you make them feel about the way you ask questions. All right.
Yes.
And do you think it's a right time for me to give them the next situation?
Yes, I think we've had quite a good discussion on this situation. Shruti, please give them the next scenario.
Okay, I think you gave a scenario where we can have a small talk with a friend, which is comparatively easy. Now, I
Hmm.
want to take it on another level, and I
Hmm.
would like to give you a situation, dear learners. For example, imagine it's your first day at work, and you have to think of what you can ask your colleague. It's going to be your first day at work, and what can you ask to your colleague? So the options are: A, you can ask, "How is the work culture?" Option
Hmm.
B, "Do you get along with your manager?" And option 3, Are you working remotely or you're working from office as well? So it's all about what you can ask and what you cannot. So to make it easy for you, we have pinned it up in the chat box. Let's see if you're able to answer. Let's see. And Megha ma'am, as I was asking you about professional setup, I remember sometimes learner come in the session and they say they feel hesitant when they have a conversation with their boss or with their subordinates. In that sense,
Hmm.
how to be confident when you know you're right, still you want to break the ice. So what can be done?
Okay, so this is a very common problem. The first thing that they can do is just take some deep breaths before you go and approach your manager. Don't walk into the room all nervous, right? Just take some deep breath. It's going to be okay. Have a positive mindset, and you can visualize the conversation before you actually have it. Let's say, Shruti, you are my boss, and I want to discuss something very important with you. I shouldn't wait until I go into the meeting room to decide what I want to ask you, right? I need to plan things beforehand. When I meet Shruti ma'am, these are the two questions I need to ask and go in prepared. This will help you with calming down your nerves. So, preparation is key. And second, body language. Okay, so when you walk into the room, make sure you're walking with a straight back, maintain eye contact, and have a good posture. So this portrays confident, so that even inside, if you're nervous, outside it, no one will be able to figure it out that you're nervous, right? So these are some things that you
Yes.
can surely do: preparation, good
Okay.
body language, and deep breaths.
True. I think Muskan wants me to repeat the question. Okay, for you, Muskan, one more time. I just asked you a situation. Feel as if it's your first day at work and you want to have a small talk with your colleague. That time, what kind of questions can you ask? First one is, how is the work culture? Second is, do you get along with your manager? And third is, are you working remotely or are you working from home these days? So, this is the situation. Okay. And coming on, yes, we have also pinned it up. I think it would be easy. We have already the right answers in the room. Megha ma'am, would you like to check in some of them?
Yes, yes. Shrikant says, how is the work culture? And Jyoti Yadav says, how is the work culture and are you working remotely are the right options, right? And Rahat says option B is better than option C. And we have Viranjaneyulu who says, how is the work culture? So we are having a lot of, people siding with how is the work culture.
Yes, I want to know why you cannot ask, do you get along with your manager? Well, what's wrong in that?
So even Sachin, Karthik, Naval, and Kusum, even they say that how is the work culture is the best option out of the three. Okay, even Rohini says
Exactly.
that. Yeah. So guys, can you tell us
Yes.
what's wrong with the other option? The one, do you get along with your manager? Is it okay to ask that?
Yes, but I'm happy they told that they can ask how's the work culture. Of course, I think
Yes.
when you step in the corporate world or when you step in any new job, you want to
Hmm.
understand how the organization works, what kind of culture they cultivate. So it's
Hmm.
quite easy for them to guess. Now you have asked them a tricky one, why you cannot ask the question related to manager at first go.
Yes.
Let's
Let's
see
see
if
who
they
we
can
can
get
try.
it right. Yes, exactly. Yes, rebound, resilient Ruby, you're saying it right. We can ask about work culture. Okay, Thakur says, according to me, all the three question pretty. Anyone we can pick. Okay, he's trying to say that according to him, all the
Hmm.
three situations were right. All the three questions can be asked.
Okay.
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 Yes. Uh, Webhub says, first question seems little rude.
You're right, Vaibhav.
Okay.
I think Vaibhav got it absolutely right. He's nailed it. So, yes, I think it's a little too personal also, and it's rude to ask, how do you get along with your manager? What do you think, Shruti?
Yes, Rohini says it right. How is the work culture? And here they will give us full answer in one sentence. Of course, that's true. I think Shrikant says we cannot ask this because it's the first day. Exactly. Of course, you have the full right to ask about the manager, but maybe not on the very first day. You can understand the manager after some time, isn't it?
Yes, once you're a part of the organization, you're going to figure it out. And on the first day, if you ask about the manager, people might think that you're trying to gossip or you're too nosy. So it might lead to a bad impression. So it's better to avoid that.
Exactly. And as they say, first impression is the last impression. The moment you come, people are trying to understand you because you're a newbie. And if you will behave in such a manner, so I think things can get little off track. So be cautious of what you ask.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Muskan says, according to me, do you get along with your manager gives you an impression that you might be judgmental.
Very right, Muskan. You got it right. Yes. It seems that you would be very judgmental and you want to know how everyone is before you can form a relation with them. So better to avoid that.
Okay. I want to give a shout out to Kusum now because her answer just brought smile on my face. She said that when we will ask about work culture, so we can know about the manager, clients, and overall all the environment of that place.
Yes. Round of applause, Kusum. Very good critical
Yeah.
thinking skills.
Exactly. And see, when you are joining for the first time, even you should have an open mindset of adapting
Mhm.
people's mentality and their behavior. Not all the
Yes.
time people would behave the way you expect them to be. That's
Yes.
what I have learned so far from my career. What do you have to say, Megha?
100% right. The kind of treatment that you get from your colleagues, it depends on the relationship that you form with them. So if you're new to an office, just try to maintain a good and positive rapport with everyone, and it's going to be a good journey after that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I believe all these learners are super excited, and the kind of prompt response we are getting in the chat box
Yeah.
is really amazing. I would appreciate if all of you would always also hit the like button so that we can have full motivation in the house. And now, with this motivation and zeal, I want you to incorporate and introduce our third situation for this activity. What
Okay, so this
else can you give?
Okay, so the third situation is going to be very relevant for most people here, and that is a telephonic interview. Okay, so guys, let's imagine that you are a candidate and you are in a telephonic interview, and your options are option A, how much do you pay? You upfront ask your interviewer, how much do you pay? Option B, may I know the pay scale for this role? And option C, can you share any advice for newcomers in this field? So those are the three options. Let me reiterate. It's a telephonic interview. You are the candidate. And what questions can you ask the interviewer? How much do you pay? May I know the pay scale for the role? Can you share any advice for newcomers in this field? So let's see who can get the right answer first.
Okay. You told about telephonic conversation. I think, especially when it comes to telephonic interviews, first of all, you're not ready for the call. Maybe you are in the middle of something and you receive a call saying, hey, this is HR from this organization. So
Yes.
this can be nerve wracking. Meanwhile, they are answering your question. I want
Mhm.
you to give us at least two tips so that we can ace telephonic interviews.
Okay, so the first thing is, see, telephonic interviews, the other person cannot see you. It's just your voice, right? So make
True.
sure that you talk loudly, clearly, and with a powerful, confident voice. If your volume is very low, the interviewer will have trouble understanding you and they might not have the patience to keep repeating the same questions. So be loud and clear. That's the first thing. And second, be extremely polite. Because again, in a telephonic interview, the interviewer cannot see your expressions. So even if you're smiling on the other end, Shruti, the interviewer won't know. So your words have to be very polite. Use words like may I
Exactly.
know, could, would, or thank you, please, sorry, can you please repeat that? So be very polite with your words.
Okay, all right. I hope this answers the query. I think most of us have this because we do prepare ourselves for physical interviews, but when it comes to telephonic interviews, it's underrated. But these days, as we are into the online setup, telephonic interviews are taking over many things. So people judge you easily when it comes to a telephonic call, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And we have some answers in the chat. We have Sutapa and Karthik who said that, may I know the pay scale for the role is correct? And Jyoti Yadav says, can you share new advice for newcomers? And
Mm-hmm.
Samriti says, may I know the pay scale? So we have a lot of fans for option B. May I know the pay
Okay.
scale?
And I think Khushi says, Can you reply it? I think we missed her question. Kushi, I would request you to put your question again. And Sachin says, can you share advice for this role? Okay.
Hmm.
Can you share some advice? Weber, you are saying that option C is perfect. Okay, this is a great one.
Yeah.
Oh, I must say, Dheeraj has given a long answer. He says that, can you share any advice for newcomers? As in this
Mhm.
case, most probably he will share the pay scale himself, or else we can go with, may I know the pay scale as supplementary question. Is that right, Megha?
Yes, 100%. If the pay scale has not been brought up initially, at the end you can ask it as a supplementary question. That's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Shrikant says, can you share some advice? Muskan is saying the same.
Yes.
Would
So
you
we
mind
have
telling me some advice for newcomers? Yes, we have a lot of comments when it comes to option C. What do you have
yes.
to say about it? Which one was right?
So guys, the correct options were option B and C, and the incorrect option was option A, which is how much do you pay? So that was the wrong option.
Yes, exactly. That's true. Although we are quite interested to know the salary, and of course, we all love money. People work for money and for better life. But I think for a time being, you must not ask this. This can be a big turn off. I myself, when I have done a recruitment earlier in my life, I used to literally get betrayed if someone used to ask that, okay, tell me the pay scale. Hey, you don't know even your profile would get shortlisted for the next step or not. Why do you
Yes.
want to know the pay scale now? Isn't it?
Absolutely. And even if you want to ask, there's a polite way to ask it. May I know? Could you please tell me? So that softens the blow. So you have to be polite and smart in telephonic interviews.
Exactly. And ma'am, I think we must address Jyoti's question. She has asked this beautifully that what about those who have got a loud voice? Because sometimes other people on the phone feel that you are talking rudely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Jyoti, having a loud voice is actually a blessing because, it makes your voice very impactful. The
I
game
can
here
vouch
is
for that.
so the trick here is to learn how to modulate your voice, learn voice modulation. Loud voice is not equivalent to being rude. So make sure your voice has a little bit of softness and politeness when you're asking questions and when you're answering. But if you have a loud voice, then great. Use it to your advantage. Practice voice modulation activities. So that will help you.
Yes. Yeah, if you're loud, it's okay. Focus on clarity as well. As sometimes I've heard, because when people are a little loud with the voice, that's completely
Mhm.
okay. We all are
Mhm.
blessed with different sounds. That's
Yeah.
what makes us unique. So, but be
Yes.
clear, no matter what kind of pitch you have, we can work over the voice code, the vocal codes, and you can brush it up with voice
Yes.
modulation, with intonations, right pauses, and you would not sound rude. And right choice of words, isn't it?
Absolutely right. Like, for example, you and I, we have very distinct voices, very different voices. But at the end of the day, the clarity is there in both, right? So it works.
Okay. I would like to say Shigant has answered that let the interviewer decide how much you deserve. He's saying this in reference to pay scale.
Good one, Shrikant. And Mohammad Junaid says, may I know the pay scale for this role and can you share new advice? Okay, he selected two options. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
See, there's no harm in asking the pay scale, of course, that's completely your right. But
correct.
if you're not sure that I will get shortlisted for this job role or not, do not ask it. If you're a perfect candidate and you feel that, yes, I did great in my interview, you can ask, but in a polite manner, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. The key here is to sound professional and not sound like you're demanding something from the interviewer. That is the key.
Okay, Jyoti is giving you a compliment, ma'am. She says that you answered it very beautifully. I'll surely work on voice modulation and we'll speak loudly but with politeness.
Thank you so much for the lovely comment, Jyoti.
Okay, great. Rohini says, what should be the first polite word? I
Hmm.
think Jyoti wants to ask you what can be a polite way of starting a conversation or maybe in
Right.
the
So,
interview.
Rohini. Yes, yes. So, what should be the first polite word, Rohini? There are some words in business English which are called the magic words. So, these words are could, would, may, right? So, these are the three magic words because using these words, you can frame a lot of polite requests. So, instead of saying, tell me about the pay scale for the role, you could say, could you please tell me about the pay scale, right? Or you can say, when is the next round going to be held? You could say, could you please tell me when is the next round going to be held? So these three magic words, if you use, you're sorted.
Exactly. And I think Naval says, "Can I say I'm open for negotiation?"
Of course, you can, Naval, but hold your horses. First, listen to the offer clearly, and then you can say, "Can we negotiate? Can we discuss this further?" So these are some ways you can, ask the interviewer to hold negotiations with you.
Exactly. And more than you, even interviewer has this commitment. He has to or she has to disclose it anyhow to you. Why would they
Yeah.
not tell you this? It's their role as well. See, your role is to prepare well for the interview, give your
Mm-hmm.
best shot. Rest, everything would be taken care by the interviewer.
Correct. Have faith.
Isn't it? Have
Yes.
faith, absolutely. Okay, now that Megha ma'am, we have prepared them to choose the right thing or the right
Mhm.
question, but I think we
Yes.
made it super easy for them by giving options. How
Yes.
about this time in this activity, we give them situations, but don't give any option. Let them understand what they can ask. What do you have to say?
Hmm. I think this would be challenging and exciting for all of them. So, shall we start with the first situation, Shruti?
Exactly. So, to all of you, I want you to be ready with your chat section, and we
Yeah.
want you to show us activity. Depending upon this, we'll choose the top three winners of our today's live. And as I just said earlier, we gave you situation and relevant questions where you had to choose what can be asked and what cannot. But here, we'll give you situation without any options. So you have to guess the right way or what can be the right question. Let's see if you can make it out. I want you, Megha ma'am, to introduce your very first situation to our learners.
Okay. So, learners, your first situation is imagine that you have new neighbors who have moved in right next to your house. Okay. So, now tell us in the comment section what are some small talk questions that you can ask them. Your situation is new neighbors have moved in. So use your
Okay.
creativity and come up with some really good questions that you can ask them as part of the small talk.
Okay, and I must tell you a small anecdote, Megha ma'am. I was never good with initiating conversations. Once the
Oh.
conversation is initiated by someone, of course, I can be a part of it, but starting my own would be a great challenge for me. So once one of our neighbors came to our home and she asked, "Where's your mother?" And I
Hmm.
said, "I don't know." And I left.
Oh my god, that's such a funny
Of
incident.
course, I couldn't actually think of what can be said in a response. But later on, once the situation was over, then I
Yeah,
felt, hey, I could have asked her to come in, or maybe I could have offered water to her, if not anything else. But
yeah.
sometimes we come into the awkward space when it comes to relatives, friends, or your neighbors. So you've given quite good situation to them.
Yes, and most of the time, when the situation has passed, that is when we realize, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. Until then, mind is like a blank slate for most of us.
Oh, and I think our learners are ready with the answers. Tanvi
Yeah.
Rathi says, neighbors, where are you from? Okay.
Hmm. Okay.
Muskan says, where have you had your accommodation before?
Okay. And Ruchi says, from where are you coming?
Okay, I'm coming from home.
And Veeranjanelu has a very good response again. Is there anything I can help you with as you get settled in? What do you think about that, Shruti?
Wow. Quite great. I would say the way he has written is much
Yeah.
appreciated. Jyoti
Yes.
says, we can say that if you need any kind of help, please let me know. I would surely try help you in every possible way.
Wow, we have such
Okay.
friendly and helpful learners on our platform, don't we?
Exactly. Means they're just ready to offer help. Wow.
Yes, yes. Navonil says, hey, hi, you seem to be new here. When did you move in? Good one.
Okay. Would you mind? Uh, could you repeat the question? Okay, for you, Thakur, the question has been pinned up in the chat section. You can check it out. Okay. Rohini says, where are you from? How have you come here? Okay. Great. They're just ready. Now, what do you have to say? Which of the situations and what kind of answers they have given? Is it right? Are they going in right direction?
Yes, I'm feeling so proud. I think pretty much every single one of them has given some great questions to begin small talk with neighbors. Good. I think they deserve a round of applause.
Yes.
They
Karamjeet
do.
Kaur says, hi, how are you? It's a very good place to live. Nice to meet you. Anyway, I am Karan. What is your name? We are happy to have you a new member in a colony. Could I help you? Okay, she has given a full conversational starter to
Yes.
us that I
Yes.
would say this as a dialogue.
I think Karamjeet Kaur has given us lots of different questions and one answer itself. So yeah. And Vaibhav
Yes.
Dwivedi says, consider us as your closest one. We are open to help you at any cost, anytime. Feel free to ask anything. Wow. That's a good one again.
I think this makes the other person feel yes, we got great people. In case we need any help, there would be just a call or a message away.
Yes, right. It's a good one. What can I do for you? Rohini says, what can I do for you? Kusum says, hey, hope so everything is going well. You seem new. If you need any help, you can ask me freely. I think they've pretty much gotten it right, Shruti.
Yes, exactly. Rohini says, what can I do for you? Okay, this can be direct. If you could just sugarcoat it a bit, I think it would be a great way to ask. Perfect. Now they have tried their well, what they can say in the situation if such things come to them. I want you to tell us some other things what they have not answered. What can be other ways of saying the same thing?
I think they've gotten most of it right. And you can say, hi there, welcome to the new neighborhood. Have you settled in okay? So, this is the first option. Second is there anything that I can help you with as you're settling in? Feel free to ask. That's the second one. And third would be to make them feel a little more comfortable in the neighborhood. So, say some positive things about it. For instance, offer to introduce them to other neighbors. Like, have you met any other neighbors yet? Do you want me to introduce them to you? So, simple things like this.
Hmm, absolutely. And positivity can help you build a great relation with someone who has just newly entered your society. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so here we have a question from Nalini. She says, I can't process my thoughts while speaking on any topic. Ma'am,
Hmm.
provide me any tips for that. Okay.
Okay, so all right. So Nalini, if you're in a situation where you get a lot of different thoughts when you're about to answer, don't feel compelled to talk about everything. Pick one idea that's the most relevant for the question and give a simple sentence, one simple sentence first, and just keep quiet for a while. Okay, so if you have a lot of thoughts, don't feel like you have to discuss every single one. If there are five thoughts, make sure you talk about two of the most prominent ones in your head. So that will ease your tension.
Yes, exactly. Just give yourself a little time to think, process, and then speak. It's better to speak well without rushing out. Sometimes you have so many thoughts and you want to say it in one go,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Hmm.
and I think now our learners might be waiting for the next situation. So here I have the next situation. Ms. Megha asked you if you come across the new neighbors, what can be said? And I think this situation is going to be quite relevant because somewhere or the other, this has happened with all of us.
Yes.
Feel as if you are at a restaurant and wrong order has been delivered to you. That time, what would you do? And what kind of
That's a good
conversation
one.
you can have with the server?
That's good. So Shruti, have you been in this situation yourself where you ordered something and something else arrived at your table?
Yes, I was quite introvert earlier, so I remember once I ordered fries, but I got burger. And instead of saying that, hey, I ordered fries and you have served me burger, I was happy. It's okay. Maybe God wants me to eat burger today. So I had it. So that's the case. But I think we must not do that. If you have ordered something and it's not delivered to you, you must say or you must express that out, isn't it?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's see if our learners can get it. Yes, for your help, we have also pinned it in the chat section. You are at a restaurant and a wrong order has been delivered to you. Let's see. Okay,
Hmm.
Webhub says we are eagerly waiting for the next question. Next question is up for you, Webhub. Feel free to answer it.
Yes. So the next question, as Shruti already mentioned, you are at a restaurant, but you have received the wrong food order. So how will you deal with this?
Yes. Yeah, and also let us know if you are foodie. Otherwise, you can still manage. You're like, okay, it's okay if a wrong order has been given to me. I can have it. I can manage.
Yeah.
Okay. Pavitra says B. Pavitra, we have not given you options this time. We want you to create some questions relevant to the situation. Let's see. Give yourself some time. Think about. Okay, we have our first answers. Okay, Viran says that would it be possible to get the correct order, please?
Hmm. Yes. And
Tanvi
we have
says call waiter and ask.
right. And Jyoti Yadav says, I will tell the server. Right. What did she say? Lost that comment. I'll tell the server. Could you please
Oh,
check the correct order?
oh my god, we are whelmed with the kind of response. It's difficult for us to read the way chat is moving up. Shrikant says, yes, exactly. I have received wrong delivery. Can you please
Mhm.
check it? Rohini, you're right. Navaleen says, I believe the wrong order is served. Can you recheck and bring the correct one?
Yes, and Ruchi Pandey says, I call my waiter and tell him, could you check my order because it has been swapped? Nice word, right, Shruti? Swap. Yeah.
Yes. Muskan says, thank you for serving, but I'm sorry by mistake you have delivered wrong food order.
Hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Rohini says, I have received wrong delivery. Can you please change it? And we have YouTube study who has a very funny response. I'll take it and eat it, but at pay time I will not pay because I haven't ordered it.
Okay, virtual high five to you. That's on another level. Lavleesh says, um, maybe some confusion with order. This is not my order. Okay.
Correct. And rebound resilient Ruby. I simply call waiter and ask about this mistake. So Ruby, could you please drop in what exactly will you ask? Right. And
Yes.
we have
Weber is saying that, hello, brother, could you please change this order? This is not mine. What if you are served by a girl? We can't say brother,
so Weber could ask
right?
sir slash ma'am.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Jyoti
we have
says, I'll tell to
Akash.
the server
Mhm.
not to worry. Making
Hmm.
mistake is natural. So please get me the right order.
Good one, Jyoti. Yeah. And we have Akash Singh who says, you brought wrong item, please change it. Pretty direct again.
Okay, but still, we've got great things, and I think they are thinking in a right direction. They're trying to make the other person feel comfortable because, of course, they have so many orders. At times, they may think of that this was asked by you or ordered by you. So,
Yes.
what should be the right answer, Megha ma'am?
I think, Shruti, some correct options could be I think I got someone else's order. Can you check it? So, this is pretty straightforward, right? And the second one is I think there's been a mix up. Could you please check on my order? And the last option could be looks like there's been a mistake. Could you help me get the correct order? So, these are three options that could be used in this situation.
Exactly. Okay. See, dear learners, the reason why we are giving you situations and asking you is because not always we can give you advice or suggestion and you just take it. Unless and until you implement, you let your brain think about the answers, you'll never learn. So whenever
Hmm.
we come with activities, the basic idea is to learn, but in innovative way. So if you notice,
Yes.
so far in our first activity, we gave you some situations. If you are in professional setup, what kind of questions can be asked, what is appropriate and what is not. So that next
Exactly.
time when you go for any small talk, you have the clear mindset that these are my boundaries and I must not cross it. Right? And
Yes.
what was the objective of our second activity, Megha ma'am, if you could enlighten our learners?
So, in case there is any confusion, instead of just accepting the wrong thing, you need to speak up and speak up politely, and you will get the solution to your problem. So don't have to feel nervous. Just ask the right question and you'll get the right answers.
Exactly. And I think same approach goes well whenever you're learning any language,
Oh my
right?
goodness, absolutely right. I completely agree with you.
Be patient and things would be right up to you. Language
Hmm.
learning require time and we are here. So why to worry when you have great mentors? You can learn at your pace. So without further delay, I think here we have the third situation and I want you to introduce them.
Okay, so the third situation is, let's say that you're traveling in a bus, but okay, let's say that you're traveling in a train and someone is sitting in your seat. So, what kind of questions would you ask them to sort out this situation? You're on a train, but someone else is in your seat.
This is relatable to another extent.
Yeah.
You know that you have paid for the seat, but someone else is sitting. Now, there should be a polite way, but first of all, you get this anger that, hey, why this person is sitting when I have paid for this seat?
Hmm.
Why he's not sitting at his own place or any other thing? Why they are on my seat? So it's
Yeah.
going to be a little tricky. Let's see if they love traveling. If they are hodophile, of course, they must have gone through this feeling.
Yeah, especially I think if we have a lot of students in today's session, they would know this. They would, I think they deal with this pretty much on a daily basis.
Okay. To our last question, Rahul has said that if I have a change option, I'll do it. Otherwise, I will eat it with my friends. So
That's
this
a
is
nice.
another level.
Yeah.
Yes. Meanwhile, there is a question by Muskan in the house. She says, "Ma'am, in a conversation, sometimes I get stuck. I stuck to get the correct word, and at that moment, I couldn't find any synonym of the word resonating with the context. So, in such case, what should I do?"
There is a concept in English. It's called paraphrasing. Let me simplify it for you. If you don't remember the correct word, why not try to describe the process? Okay, so if there is an adventure activity called zip lining, and at the moment you don't remember the word zip lining, so you could describe the process, right? How it works, what exactly did you do, so the other person can get some idea and they'll be able to help you out with the word. So this is also what we do in our English Shari sessions, don't we, Shruti? Isn't this how we help out our learners?
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. That's true, of course. See, when it comes to learning or understanding, you get stuck because you're not prepared your brain to be active during such situations. That's when you're like, oh, what should I say? It's better you conquer the situation. One of my favorite quotes says that if you sweat a lot in the field, you bleed less in the war. That means if you put a
Hmm.
lot of hard work during your practice, in your rigorous practice, if you are ready, you've prepared yourself, so that time you'll not be able to get wounds or any kind of bleedings when you are actually fighting with the situation. So it's all about training. Train yourself before entering in such situations. That's why, as ma'am said, that when we come in sessions, we give an environment to the learner where they can freely experiment, learn, have a rigorous practice and improve, right?
Exactly. That's such a thoughtful, proverb, if we can say. Beautiful.
Oh,
And
now we have the right answers.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so coming on to the first, Rahul says it's too difficult situation. Megha ma'am, you have given a tough situation this time.
Oh my goodness. So let's quickly read out some responses. So
Yeah.
Viranjaneyulu says, "Excuse me, sir or madam, the seat is assigned to me. Could you please cross-check your seat number?" Wow, very descriptive. And we have YouTube study who says, "Could you please check your seat number because the seat is allotted to me?" Good one. And Jyoti Yadav, "Dear, I think you're mistaken. Would you mind checking your seat number once again?" So far the responses are quite positive. Shruti, would you like to take over?
Yes, exactly. They're right. They're doing it perfectly. Naval, you're right. Hi, sir. I hope you got the wrong seat. Would it be possible for you to exchange the seats? Okay, I think exchange would not be the right word. Exchange is when the seats have been swapped. But here it could be something else because it's your seat. You have not changed it with anyone. So we cannot say exchange it. But yes, your idea was right. Okay.
Hmm.
Suzanne says, "Excuse me, I think you might be in my seat. Could you please check your ticket to see if you are in the right spot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Baran says, sorry for inconvenience. You might have some confusion with your seat number because this is mine. Okay. Nice. You're
Karamjeet Kaur.
going in a correct way.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Karamjeet Kaur says, would you please check your seat number since I think this is mine and improve English. First of all, I will recheck my seat and then I will tell you that don't mind, but this is my seat. Okay. Don't mind, but this is my seat. Okay. Not bad.
Okay, what's
Good
the
one.
right answer? What's the right way of saying this when someone else is sitting?
Okay. So you can be pretty direct. You can say, hey, just wanted to let you know that you're in my seat. Could you please check your ticket once again? That's something you can start with. Or you could
Okay.
say, excuse me, I believe that's my seat. Could you please go and sit in your assigned seat? So these are some polite ways where you can diffuse the
Okay.
situation.
Yes, but we must appreciate that you were going in a right way, or mostly the answers were correct. Some of the times you can be blunt, but try to mold the situation, try to mold your question, and things would be sorted. Otherwise, nothing works when you turn yourself into arrogance, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's not get into a fight. Let's try to sort out the situation in a polite manner, and I'm sure it'll get resolved.
Exactly, and here comes the time of truth.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. Megha Nayak, where the reason we do activities and the reason we do all these things is to help our learners improve. So, as to
Mhm.
conclude what we learned in our today's life, you learned what small talk means, a usual conversation, how you can do it effectively in your day to day life. Thirdly, we worked on if a situation is given to you, what kind of questions can be appropriate versus some of the inappropriate situations or the questions that you must avoid. Later
Hmm.
on, we gave you some of the tricky situations and asked you how you could ask the other person in change. For example, if you have been delivered a wrong order or the person is sitting on your seat, what can be done? And I think they did it pretty well.
Yes.
Here comes the time where we have to tell the top three learners of our today's life who would get a chance to win free live sessions with us.
Hmm.
So I want you to choose the first one. I know it's going to be tough, but yes. Over to you.
Okay, so I think, in my opinion, a lot of very appropriate and precise answers were given by Veeranjan Iyulu Papasani. So I think my choice would be this person.
Okay. And first thing first, whenever I come live, of course I remember all of you. Your names are now just within us, and whenever we see you acting, you're reacting with all the situations, we feel super happy. Coming on to the second learner who will get a chance to win the free session is going to be Kusum. Here comes a small note for you, Kusum, that we must appreciate the kind of effort she put in explaining what is right and why it is right. You know,
Yes, absolutely.
right?
You're right.
So I would like to choose, of course, Kusum for this role. And Kusum, I hope you will join us in free session, and then we'll help you improve and ace your spoken English journey to another level. And here comes to our third learner. Would you like to guess the top third learner?
I think it would be Mr. Vaibhav Dwivedi. Are we
Oh
on the
my
same
god.
page?
Yes, I was about to say it. Webham
Yeah.
is going to win the third session. Okay, so as to just check, we have given one to Webham. The second is Kusum, and the third one was Nikha ma'am. It was from your end.
Veeranjan Papasani, who has also sent a beautiful thank you note to us. So
Uh-huh.
congratulations to all the winners.
Congratulations, absolutely. And to all those who were not able to make out, it's okay. At least you learned something new in the session. You discovered something that can be beneficial in your day to day life. And here comes an important update. Dear learners, sometimes you ask that what should I hear or should I listen to? So, Team English Yaari has recently started a podcast series where we give the best content in the form of audios to you. So, let yourself sink in the English language by hearing something good, and I hope you would like it. So do check out our Instagram and our YouTube handle to keep yourself updated. What do you have to say, Ms. Megha?
I mean, I was super happy to see all the amazing responses in today's chat, and I can't wait to have conversations with all these learners in our sessions.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So now that you are the winners, enjoy. And to all those who couldn't make out, it's okay. There's always a next chance. Maybe next live would be the lucky live for you. And English
Yes.
Eye is always there to bring the excitement one. So do check
Yes.
that out, and we'll see you in our next live.
I think we
Right?
have one small announcement for all our amazing learners. So, for those of you who are interested in personalized English learning one on one sessions, our Valentine's sale is available. So, there you can avail 45% discount on your subscription plan. So, please make sure that you avail it. It's 45% discount on our plans.
Yes.
Do check it out, guys.
Ab- Absolutely, you can check out. And yes, as I said, we are up there for you. Just download the English Yaari app or you check out our website. We are just a message or a call away.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, on this note, thank you so much. It's time to wrap this live. It was a great live, and I think the kind of answers we get makes it interesting, makes it engaging, and fuels us to come with a great and amazing content the other time, isn't it?
Yes. 100%.
Okay. Is there anything that you would like to say? Some words as a sign off note.
Absolutely, sure. I think English is a beautiful language. Don't get disheartened if you are facing any troubles. Seek professional guidance. We at English Yaari are always here to help you out. So be positive and keep practicing English. All the best, everyone.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you in our next live. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.